some people, they aren't ready for certain milestones at certain times. Some people just never get around to certain things. Other people, they have never had these opportunities presented to them. And so they struggle with the fact that, they've never even had the ability to try to achieve certain milestones. Slipped that really hard. I'm drinking this tea by Numi. It's their aged Earl Grey. I think it might have like extra bergamot in it. It's really good. And then there's this creamer from Trader Joe's that is probably going out of season soon. It's their blueberry lavender, which I am in love with. Best friend Olivia put me on to this, and I've been obsessed ever since. A movie I heavily resonated with as a child was Disney's Mulan. People who know me on a deep level kind of know how obsessed I am with Disney movies. It's not something that I talk about unless there's like reason to bring it up, but I am obsessed with Disney movies. Basically anything from like Beauty of the Beast all the way up to Tangled. There might be like some here and there that I'm not really, a fan of, but anything in that era, I've just been obsessed with. Do not challenge me to Disney trivia. You will lose. Saying that specifically for my sister who thinks that she can beat me at Disney trivia. No, you can't. But Mulan specifically is a movie that I connected with because not only is the soundtrack for Mulan like one of the best, if not the best, in all of like Disney canon, but the three lines that Mulan's father tells her in the beginning of the movie, after she's quote unquote failed this big moment for her that, she expected to go well and it didn't go the way that she planned. Those words really stuck with me. My, what beautiful blossoms we have this year. But look, this one's late. I bet that when it blooms, it will be the most beautiful of all. A friend of mine recently posted on Instagram. I'm saying recently, but this was really like 2 months ago. His name is Farouk Al Saeed. I think his catchphrase is full-time supervillain, part-time hater, but he's also, in his free time, a good friend. He made this post about late blooming, or rather the concept that late blooming isn't real, that no one late blooms. It's just you get to something whenever it's your time. Ever since that post, I've kind of been meditating on what that meant for me. I remember replying on that post that I've literally been late for everything. Not literally, but that it seems like for a lot of my own kind of markers in my life that I've arrived to them late or later than what society may expect. Something that he wrote on that post that really rang true for me was the sentence, never on schedule, but always on time. I consider myself a perpetual late bloomer. So many things in my life have not happened when I expected them to or was told that, they would happen. I'm just going to go through a short list of what those things are. Dating. I had a boyfriend in high school, like we weren't necessarily like a quote unquote serious relationship, but it was fun. But then I didn't date again until I was 23. So there was a very large gap between the time that I had my first boyfriend and the time that I had my second. Graduating college. I did that 2 years ago, which I am 26 now, so I graduated when I was 24. A lot of that happened due to, I had to take a year off of college because my grandmother was ill, and then there was financial issues after that, and so it definitely pushed back the time that people are expected to graduate, which I believe is like around 21 years old. Flying on an airplane. This one seems silly, but I did not fly on an airplane until last year. um, which I'm in love with. I've heard so many bad stories about flying on an airplane, and so I was really terrified to do it. But when I did it, it was actually really fun. Going on a solo vacation. This one I also did for the first time last year. I don't know necessarily if this is like a late bloomer type thing, but I kind of consider it like that. Most of the vacations I've been on have been with family. Like I really didn't take many trips in college, also due to financial issues. And there was one that I'm not going to name specifically in this video, but I will talk about that later. And then there are some things that I haven't done yet, like leaving the country. Um, I went on a cruise last December to the Bahamas, but we were only there for like half of a day, so I don't necessarily count that as like truly leaving the country. And even that, again, that was last December, so that was last year. Getting my driver's license, yes, at 26, turning 27 next month. I still do not know how to drive. This is mainly my fault because I mean, it would be my fault regardless, but I am terrified of driving. So we're in Pennsylvania. I live in Pennsylvania. And if you've ever been to Pennsylvania, you know that we have a serious roadkill problem. Like, I've been to so many other states, so many other cities, and just seeing roads without like dead animals on them is something that is weird for me. Like, it's that bad here. The idea of running something over like fills me with so much dread. And so I'm worried not only about running something over, but of also trying to avoid running it over and then crashing into someone else or having someone rear end me. It's a whole thing. So I'm trying to get over that. I still have my wisdom teeth. Um, yeah, they right now they are not necessarily irritating, but every like month or so it'll start like rubbing against my mouth, like on the inside of my cheek, and then it's hard for me to talk, and then the way that my mouth will move whenever I talk, it's weird. So if you ever see that, you know, that's why. But I will be getting them removed next month. And also, this one's kind of weird, but I want to continue my education. I want to go for my master's, and I haven't done that yet. Again, I graduated college with my bachelor's 2 years ago. And so, usually, quote unquote, usually, which we'll talk about, usually people will go back for their master's either a year to 2 years at the most after they graduate. So a lot of the reason why so many of the experiences that I've had in life have been later than normal, especially where you see that jump from me doing things quote unquote on time in high school and then that jump till I was 23, is mainly because I was dealing with, you know, mental illness, specifically depression and anxiety, which here I won't get into too much detail on it. I would like to make a video specifically about that, you know, surrounded on all sides by, you know, content warnings and things like that. But something that I would go through is that, you know, I would have the depression and anxiety that would make it really hard for me to keep up with these quote unquote milestones in life. And then whenever I didn't meet those milestones, I would get frustrated and think there was something wrong with me for not meeting those milestones, which would throw me into another round of depression and anxiety, just causing this vicious cycle of, you know, criticizing, and just internalizing the message that I wasn't enough because I wasn't doing these things on time. Little tea break. For so long, I felt like I was alone in this feeling, but as it turns out, there are so many people around the world that are dealing with the exact same frustration, you know, feeling like they're missing out on experiences. You know, millennials, for the longest time, we've been called the Burnout Generation. And it seems like we're actually going to get dethroned by Gen Z, who's coming, you know, basically they've been coming in hot for the entire time they've been alive. Like they are super ambitious, super determined, super goal driven, which is incredible because I kind of wish I had like half of the determination that they have, while I was their age. But, but yeah, along with that comes the feeling that you can't slow down or else you're going to miss out on life experiences, that you can't do things late, or else that means that you're a failure in some way. Thinking that you can't make changes or you can't go a different direction. Like, there's so much pressure on people to do things at a specific time, and it's crushing us. I feel like that's part of the reason why during the pandemic, a lot of people, even now, are struggling with the idea of not doing certain things, not going on vacation. On one hand, it's the idea of we never know what's going to happen, so living, your best life now in whatever way you're able to, which I absolutely commend. But there's also that fear on the other hand of, I have to do these things right now, which that's kind of the main thing that I wanted to focus on for this part of my channel. But also want to make it clear, I know this makes me sound so old because it sounds like I'm going down the route of like, whenever you're growing up and you're like your aunties and uncles are telling you, you need to slow down, you need to appreciate life whenever you were young and didn't pay bills and stuff. And that's not what this is for. So this isn't to judge people that are able and are more comfortable with living more fast-paced lives and who are able to hit all of these milestones whenever, society expects them to be able to. I think that is incredible. This is mainly for people who struggle with, the unending guilt and the shame of not being able to keep up with what the world is demanding out of them. Certain milestones that I reached later in life, I'm kind of thankful for because I arrived to these milestones with more experience, more confidence to say what was true for me, more confidence with setting my own boundaries and the ability to stick with those boundaries, to make sure that, these were things that I wanted to do, and also having more resources, more support systems, which for any big milestone is important to have in your corner. Some people, they aren't ready for certain milestones at certain times. Some people just never get around to certain things. Other people, they have never had these opportunities presented to them. And so they struggle with the fact that, they've never even had the ability to try to achieve certain milestones. I want to let you know that there are a lot of us that reach certain milestones a lot later in life, whether or not it's something as small and as simple as getting your wisdom teeth pulled out, like I am going to, or people who completely change their career trajectories, in their 30s, 40s, or even 50s. I'm planning on interviewing sort of everyday people who are either perpetual late bloomers like me or have like certain areas in their lives where they did something later than they expected. I'm going to be talking about some of the experiences that I had and, if arriving to them late had any difference in how I experienced them. I'm actually also going to take you through some of the experiences that I still have yet to experience. I'm going to try to keep things fun. At one point I did see being a late bloomer as a sad thing, but I kind of see it as fun now that I can kind of be consciously aware of the fact that I'm passing these milestones. I'm celebrating the fact that even though I've not necessarily, again, gotten to these things on schedule, I still got to them on my own time. And yeah, I just want to share that journey with all of you. So thank you. I will be posting more about those videos as they come along. But yeah, in the meantime, I just want to let you know that you are enough. I appreciate you and hope y'all go through this journey with me.